Oh, hello? Anyone? No. Okay then. Daniel was stuck in a prison cell. It was dark, and it was in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a forest as well. The trees were mostly green, but not very tall. Some were scratched by lightning, but Daniel didn't care, because lightning isn't the biggest problem in the world, unless it gets the cage. Daniel was a skinny kid and didn't have much muscle either. Sure, he could slide through the bars, but it would hurt way too much for him. How did I get here? I must have gone to sleep or something. Daniel had a plan though. A twig was close to his arm. Good thing he was skinny because an arm is always long when you're skinny. Well, that's what they all say. Daniel reaches his arm out to get the twig and grabs it as he plants his head onto the bar of the cage. Daniel uses his nails to cut the stick into a weird-looking key after several hours. He crosses his fingers and hopes for the best as he unlocks the lock from the cage. His hands shaking in fear. Daniel runs as fast as he can, further into the forest, and then comes across a gravel path. He gets down low onto his stomach, the wet ground seeping into his top as he spots a wagon with two horses on the front, pulling the small wagon. Two people at the front driving it. Where was Daniel? Hey kid, come here quick. As a quiet voice comes from the left, Daniel crawls towards the guy with caution. Daniel sees a guy with a camouflage coat with a bow and a quiver of arrows. What the hell you doing here, kid? The boy whispers quietly. I found myself in the cage a few miles away, Daniel whispers in caution. What the heck is a mile? What place you from? I'm from England, in the country of Cornwall. Oh, I love Cornwall. How's it there? How's King Arthur's castle? The boy says. Oh, it's long gone. Wait, what year are you from? 2019. You must be pulling me leg. This is 1320. Wait, do you have a phone on you? What are they? He asked, puzzled. Never mind. I'm from a place from the future. Yes, you are from the future, the guy shouts. Hey, who goes there? As two people get off horses, and the guy and Daniel hide behind a tree. The guy gets a bow and arrow and sticks the arrow in the bow until he gets ready to fire. He lets go of the arrow, and it splats right into one of the guard's chests. The other guard runs away, but not for long, as the guy sets another arrow in at the speed of light and shoots the guard in the head. Okay, all done, you were saying? Oh, yeah, what's your name? Name's Henry, how about you? Oh, me, it's Daniel. Henry was a medium-sized buff guy with a lot of muscle. His hair was messy blonde. Gotta get moving, a storm's coming in. Let's get ready for it. Here, grab these loaves, would you? Be kind and do what's right and carry them back. But... No buts, get your strength up. Henry was carrying heavy bags, and Danny was carrying logs. When the boys got back, they both dropped their items outside. Okay, Daniel, we're here. Oh, but where is the entrance? Oh, it's right below you, Daniel. Henry pulls some debris away to the left and reveals a trap door. What are you waiting for? Come down. Oh, okay. Daniel falls down and suddenly sees that he is falling a lot. What the blinkles is this? Oh, it's me home. Well then why are we still falling? You'll see, Daniel, he said with a smile. The boys fall for 10 seconds until they hit some weird looking blobber slime. The boys bounce up into a home that looks cool but weird. Inside was a cool looking homemade gym, but also a drawing of Henry as a kid, with him holding his hands with his mom and dad. Daniel examines it, and Henry comes over to him, putting his hand over Daniel's shoulder. That was a drawing of me and my family. They were murdered by that tribe that I killed earlier. By the way, there are more than two. There is about 2 million of them, but I don't care until I take every one of those son of a guns out. A tear comes out of Henry's eyes. Those bastards won't kill me, and never will. I wanted a life that would be good, but no, it came to bloody this, and then I am now a killer, and I will never forget my parents. Henry lets his tears flow, and then wipes his face. Tears keep falling as he stares at the picture for a long moment. Daniel looks at it, and a tear wells in his eye. The two boys look at each other in compassion. Anyway, let's start a fire. We should get those logs from outside. The boys get back onto the blob and go outside to see that the logs and that they are all stacked up on each other. Daniel, how did you stack them so well? Well, all I did was just, do what I normally do. My father taught me. What did your father teach you? I didn't really get taught a lot. My father just pretty much gave me some skills on how to hunt and do that stuff. That's how I know how to shoot a bow. The boys get back in the home just as it turns to night. Henry looks at Daniel. Let's do this. As the two boys get all the logs and put them in a circle, and then put some burnt bits of dark bark into the fire. Boom! Well, that is the storm eating a tree or something. Well, it's close. Tomorrow, that was a tribe fight between the Stormers and the Castlemen. The Stormers killed my parents, so tomorrow we'll help the Castlemen. I just need to send a message to the leader of the Castlemen that I'm going to help him and hopefully win. You can help if you want, but I will have to craft another bow. Yes, I would love another bow. Let's hope for the best tomorrow. Boys keep rubbing large and thick twigs together, until suddenly a big explosion of fire comes from the top of the logs. The two boys stumble back and have a laugh. Henry's hair was on fire, but Henry didn't care. They had a good time that night. In the morning, at around 4 a.m, the boys get out of their beds and get ready for a big day ahead. You had a nice sleep, didn't you? No! I normally wake up at 7 stupid o'clock. Gee, your parents are strict, Daniel. Well, that's me for you, mate. The two boys walk further on into the darkness. They come across a stick and find that it's good and bendy. Later, they find string. I can't wait to have a great time killing people together, even though that sounds weird. Several boring hours of waiting, the boys come over to the fighting arena. Daniel sees the fighting arena. He sees one big arena about 5 kilometers wide on each 4 sides. There were towers on each side, but they were in the middle of the arena. They were 300 meters apart, so Daniel was guessing both tribe mates had 2 different archers on each side. What we'll do is that we'll kill the other archers on the enemy team. Everyone has a max of 2 archers for each tribe. I'll go on my own normally because I don't trust anyone except you, and if you try to kill me, I will stab you with a knife until blood comes out of your eyes. As Henry points a knife at Daniel. I'm just saying, really. Oh, okay. But I'm just demonstrating what would probably happen if some idiot tried to kill me. The two boys climb up a ladder and go onto the platform. Also, the enemy sides get the 2 archers onto the platform as well. Equal sides go onto the battlefield from both sides. Everyone is spread out from the 5-kilometer range. Okay, Daniel, get down and I'll quickly kill the archers in the tower. A horn screams across the battlefield and tries to come charging next to each other. The fear in Daniel's eyes were widening as he saw people stabbing and blocking each other. It was a horrible sight, especially for Daniel's first time. The world froze suddenly for Daniel. The sight was incredible. It looked so cool. As Daniel looked up, he saw an arrow going towards Henry. Daniel was shaking and didn't want to touch Henry or else something bad would happen. Daniel found a shield full of arrows beside him. He quickly picked it up and went towards Henry and covered his whole face with a shield. Let's effing do this. Fight me. As he touches Henry on the shoulder and the arrow goes right into the shield. Oh my god, how do you just... As Henry shakes crazily on the stop. It's called teamwork. We will fight to the end. Okay, you with me? Oh, yeah. And after you kill the other tower's archers, you have to go to ground combat. Easy. Time to get some headshots. Well, there is one more. Oh, sorry. As Daniel gets his bow and turns it to the opposite side to him and gets a blind headshot on the other man's archer. You were saying? As Daniel pretends to look cool. Henry climbs down the ladder, commando style, and Daniel jumps off the edge of the tower and rolls onto the ground, with a commando roll followed through to eject his full injuries. So, what do you say, Daniel? You ready? I was about to say the same thing, Daniel says with a cool smile. Henry and Daniel stay next to each other. They commando roll behind crates and cover. Henry takes a second to look at the beautiful background around him until... Here, take this, Daniel. This will keep us alive in close combat. As Henry passes Daniel a knife. Cheers. As Daniel receives the knife, Daniel hears footsteps near him. Daniel turns around to see an enemy tribesman looking the opposite way of Daniel. Daniel sneaks towards the person and quickly makes the tribesman turn around, and Daniel stabs the man with a knife. Then uses his bow to knock him to the floor. But it couldn't be. No way. A robot? Hey, Henry, come here. What is it, mate? Found something you might be surprised at first, but it's really cool. Henry comes over and is surprised when he sees what he's looking at. What the hell is that? I know what it is. It's a robot. A highly intelligent. We should be happy that we are not dead. This thing looks like it has some sort of scanner. A scanner is something that detects an enemy nearby. Though this is a very bad model because it only detects from its eyes, not its surroundings. Gee, this is extremely fun, especially in a spooky forest. There seems that some sort of portal must have opened and maybe changed everyone's life into this. This means people have come from different eras into this madness. I have no idea what you're talking about half the time, but I love that speech. Daniel felt like a god, or was he? Daniel lines up another shot, ready to fire. He lined up his shot, and as he shot, he hit a robot's balls. The robot fell to a clunking noise. Bro, it's different in 2019. We have all the tech in the world. Every new word is a new year. Every new life comes with a death. We are making history right now, and you're the biggest star in it right now. I guess I have to get used to it for now, Henry says with a sigh. The two boys keep killing enemy tribesmen with the bows and arrows. Even Daniel throws a knife at him and gets a headshot. Oh my god, what a shot! Daniel starts to run towards another box and gets behind a tree. But suddenly, watch out! As Daniel turns around to see a robot looking at him, about to use his bow against Daniel, he quickly reacts and kicks the robot over and starts punching it. He then slaps his bow against the robot. The robot finally explodes and ink goes all over Daniel. He falls back from the impact and into a tree. You okay, Daniel? No, I'm not. Vida, you okay? As a nurse from the friendly tribe comes over to them. You need some medicine. Here, have some frog poison to keep you good and very energized. Yes, please, I'll need that, mate. Here you go. Daniel sips it, as Henry protects him from any charges. I'll protect you from the charges, Daniel. What is that? A charger is someone that charges into you, trying to stab you with a spear or a mace. Mostly maces. Oh, okay. A charger charges into Henry. The charger was very fast, but no match for Henry's reloading skills as he hits the charger in the head. The charger falls back right next to Henry. Henry gets ready for another shot in case any more charges came towards Henry. Daniel was completely healed and ready to battle again. The nurse stayed with the boys. Hey, Missy, what's your name? My name's Annabelle. I'm a nurse and a tribe healer. I've never seen you two before. You could be a traitor. We aren't traitors. We just sent a message to the tribe master saying we wanted to be the archers because I always am the archer when the tribe is about to verse the stormers. I'm a loner, and I only just found my friend here, Daniel, and I just found out that he's a professional archer and killer. A charger once runs towards Daniel. He reacts and throws a knife at the charger. The charger falls to the ground, and Annabelle and Henry look at Daniel as he picks up his knife from the charger's body. Oh, look at the sky, it's starting to thunder. Oh yeah, let's take cover. How though? Who cares, let's find something not lightable. Lightning strikes at the metal bar on the roof nearby, and the bars fall to the ground, making the ground shake, and Annabelle falls over. You're okay? Yeah, it's just that I'm carrying a lot, though I don't need help. Oh, okay. As Daniel and Henry help Annabelle. Daniel took a long moment to look at Annabelle. She had beautiful eyes, long hair. Her eyebrows were black and they looked like they had grown long. Her lips were as red as a rose. Her eyes were blue aqua. She looked like she was from the future. Annabelle, what year is it? 2019? Actually, it's 1320. Where did you wake up at? In a hospital? I'm also from 2019, but right now we are from the past. The friends all talk for a while until a large-looking animal with wings, a tail, huge claws. It even breathed fire. It was in the mist, but then became more visible. It became larger until it was completely visible. Oh, a dragon! Get down and put your shield up! Everyone gets down as the dragon breathes fire on multiple people. They all get burnt, and now they were making the environment fire. The fire started burning closer, but at walking speed. The whole fire seemed to be going towards the middle of the arena. The fire would burn everything in its path, and then close in until the whole arena was burnt and destroyed. Meanwhile, the dragon ran away, and everyone was safe, except everyone pretty much. The thunder was striking more of the metal bars, making the fire go faster. I guess we need to somehow get out of here fast. But ow! Okay, yeah, you got me. Haha. Henry shouts weirdly. The fire was closing in, and people from both sides were getting closer into a clash. Well, a big clash. Henry and Daniel were bow and arrowing people. Annabelle was down on the ground on her chest. Watch out, Daniel! Arrows keep coming towards Daniel all the time, but he dodges all of the arrows. He uses the shield in his elbow so he can still shoot normally with both of his arms. Daniel keeps shooting enemies in the head with bows and arrows. All the friendly tribesmen had died, and now it was time for Daniel and Henry to go try-harder mode. Ah! Fight me! Come on! Charge at me! Now! Come on! Come at me, fools! I'm a long-range person, so come charging at me right now! Chargers start running towards Daniel and Henry. They nod at each other and get their knives out. They hold it so the sharp bit of the knife is, getting ready to kill everything. But they hold it so the sharp bits of the knife are on the opposite way you normally hold it to cut food. Henry and Daniel run towards 50 chargers and start stabbing them as fast as they can. Blood and oil come out of all the real and fake chargers. A robot charger suddenly hits Henry with a mace in the tummy. He falls back with his hands on his tummy. He groans in pain as he starts to bleed. Annabelle quickly drags Henry over to cover, and Daniel starts defending them as chargers come running towards him. He sees the one that hurt Henry. Daniel goes running over to it and kicks it over and hits him multiple times with his fist until it dies. Daniel gets back to defend again. He starts to see the fear and kills the chargers just in time too, as Henry is healed and bandages up again. I'm back again. Perfect. Just the bowmen. The bowmen from the enemy side all lined up and got ready to shoot until Henry throws a large log of fire at the bowmen. The bowmen try to run away, but most of them catch fire and the robots explode. The enemy people all catch fire from the oil in the robot and literally explode into the air and then fall back down onto the remaining men. Oh great, now my hands are burnt from all the fire on the log. Henry, Daniel and Annabelle look at their hands. Annabelle was fine and covered in loads of dirt all over her. Daniel was injured and he had a pretty bad back injury, and now he can't do lots of stuff properly. His body was covered in blood and lots of oil. He sees that his hands are extremely bloody and covered in splinters and dirt. Henry was badly injured and needed lots more medical assistance. He saw that his body had holes in him from the mace spikes, but they weren't too bad and more like a couple deep scars. His hands were not too bloody or oily from the long-range distance that he kept at. Wait, I just forgot. How are we going to get out of here? Come on, damn it. Oh, I know. We can use my bucket of medicine to burn the fire. Since I'm from 2019, I have the latest technology, like spreadable medicine, which can spread far distances and also create a path for us to get out of here. Wow, that was the most hardcore thing I'd heard in a long time. What's hardcore? As Daniel and Annabelle start laughing. Whoa, I'm serious. Henry starts laughing as well. Okay, let's go now. The friends get Annabelle's bucket of medicine water and they chuck it into the fire. The fire goes into ashes as the water starts to spread through the soil and creates a path. 1 hour later of following the path, they finally reach the end. Daniel and Henry use their knives and use them to cut through the bars of non-hard metal. Inside the non-hard bars was granite. That explains that it's easy to cut. After 2 hours of painful hard work, there is finally a hole for everyone to fit through. Everyone gets through, and everyone runs towards Henry's home, and Daniel shows the way to the house. When they get there, Annabelle asks confusingly, "Where is your home?" "You'll see," the two boys says. They pull the ashes across and jumps into the hole as Daniel and Annabelle follow. "What the hell is this, Henry and Daniel?" It's Henry's fall to his home. "Well, does it hurt?" As they all hit the weird blob thing and bounce up into Henry's house. Annabelle looks around as the boys prepare tea, but Annabelle insists as she knows that the boys are hurt. Later, after some beans on toast with bad toast and special beans, Annabelle gets ready to her healing on Daniel and Henry. "Henry, I'll do you first. Now take your top off." As Henry takes his top off. "Why does this make me feel like I'm about to have sex?" Daniel thinks in his head. "Okay, Henry, stay still." As Annabelle examines his body, Annabelle sees that the deep scars and injects a special medicine that makes Henry fall to sleep and also not feel pain. Next to her was Daniel, and he was covering his face with all the deep cuts getting slowly patched up in stitches. He couldn't bear to look for a second. Suddenly, Daniel fell asleep and dreamt of him not being home and his mum and dad calling the police and crying a lot. Several hours later of him sleeping, he heard Annabelle's voice saying something in his ear. "Wake up! It's your turn now!" Daniel wakes up and finds himself looking at Henry with all his stitches and looking more happier than ever. And Annabelle staring at Daniel with a smile. "Okay, Daniel, time for you to have your back fixed." Daniel lies on the floor with his head looking at the mat. Annabelle injects the sleeping medicine and the non-painful injection into him. Daniel falls asleep. Annabelle gets some glass from the broken frame and uses it as a magnifying glass. She looks at Daniel's body. He had a spine injury and a horrible purple bruise that infected the whole area. All of a sudden, someone was falling down the hole, and Annabelle and Henry heard it. "Ah! What is this?" Henry forgot to cover the ashes. The person bounces up into the home and puts his hands up straight away as he looks in. What the hell are you doing here?
Don't kill me. I'm just a mailman. I somehow know where everyone lives. I have a note from the castleman. See ya. I have to go. More papers to deliver.
Oh yeah. Just before you go, tell me, what is your name?
George it is.
George leaves the house and bounces up onto the top again. Annabelle finishes treatment and Daniel wakes up. Good morning, Cornwall. Nice to see you. As Daniel wakes up and then slaps his face on the floor again, snoring. What was that, Annabelle? Oh, it's telling me that he will be awake in 30 minutes. After another boring 30 minutes, Daniel finally wakes up and looks around him with his bagged eyes. Hey Daniel, we received a note and we're going to read it now. Cool. The group opens the note and inside the note said, Hello, I hope you're reading this as soon as it gets to you, Henry. We are in big danger. We need your help now. The storm has sent us a message saying about a dragon and robots coming to kill us. You're the best archer in the land. We need you now. Bring any friends you have and let them come with you and end this apocalypse. It's time you and your friends stop this. This has only just begun. This war has only just begun. Come quick. Even though that sounds a little bit confusing. Signed Head of Castlemen, George. I was the one who sent you this so no one could see. The fighters get their clothes, bows and arrows, hoods and medicine. This is the start of the endgame. This will be between life or death. The amount of people needing help will need me. The boys and girl make large different coloured flags of red, green and blue. Red had a head of a skull and a hit marker on it. The green had medicine and loads of people being healed at once. The blue had a robot head and a knife in it. They all went out of the house to see a couple miles away. There were borders and gates closed to them on the Castleman's side. On Castleman's side, the three masters saw everyone cheering next to them. They just kept walking forwards and kept their hoodies up over their face so no one could see them. They held their flags up high so everyone could see. The red flag was Henry's flag. It standed for long distance headshots. The green was Annabelle's. It standed for people being revived quickly and ready to go to battle again. The blue flag was Daniel's. It standed for a robot's future to be a knife in their chunky and expensive body. When the three masses got to the entrance, they went in and standed clear and on the front line. Daniel was there with his hoodie up and had loads of knives all over his body, ready to be thrown and ready to kill. Much further away held every other fighter who were spearmen and bowmen. Henry was with them and had chunks of arrows and also boots that were tight but comfortable, so he could slide in the mud to take cover easier. Just behind him held the nurses. Annabelle was in front and couldn't wait to heal wounded people. There were only about 500 nurses, but since there were only 2,000 troops left, then it means that every nurse would have to heal at least 4 to heal all of them. 30 minutes passed and everyone was still in place. But all of a sudden, a loud noise came from the sky and all the archers got ready to kill whatever it was there. Henry quickly loaded the arrows into his bow and lit them on fire to make them extremely powerful. The flying object got closer and everyone tried to hide so it wouldn't see any of them. The three masters put their flags in the fresh soil and said, "Another fight to victory! Another fight to play! We're in the endgame now!" The dragon finally appears and arrows go flying everywhere and the dragon gets hit all over and survive until flonk. The flaming arrows go into the dragon's 2 eyes and mouth. The dragon falls next to the gates and horns start blowing from the enemy tribe. Screams roam all across the battlefield as the knifemen hide like assassins. The bowmen all duck down and get ready for another shot. People and mostly robots come streaming from the bushes, but the bowmen and spearmen make their spears and arrows fly into loads of people. The last people for the enemy bowmen are down for now, but there will be more. The chargers come screaming in, and the enemy bowman tribe hides. The chargers come through the gates, but the friendly knifemen come flying towards the chargers. Daniel gets 2 knives out and flies as fast as he can into the enemy chargers. Daniel runs like his life depends on it and sprints crazily with his arms going back and forth. He throws a knife at the robot charger's head and it explodes. Daniel falls back from the explosion impact, but then deploys his secret weapon. He clicks a little button on the shoe and it deploys a shoe jetpack. Daniel controls it using his eyes. This was a project from Daniel's science class, but he needed it at the moment. He doesn't hit the floor and then goes crazy and starts throwing knives at every single enemy knifeman he sees in the path. But if he doesn't hit one, he just flies into it with his hands out with knives and then just stabs it in the back. He will quickly shake an enemy off after it's dead. Daniel turns his jetpack shoes off and gets ready for ground assault. He slides and cuts the robot's parts off as oil goes all over Daniel. He shakes all the oil off and puts it on his hair. Daniel sets his hair on fire and kills every single enemy he can find, as everyone watches him kill the last knifeman. The robot runs towards him and the robot clashes with Daniel's knife. Daniel quickly punches the robot in the elbow and quickly stabs the robot in the middle of its naked hair. Oil spurts out and Daniel looks at it, for it was a failure. Okay everyone, the 3 masters say, we have more coming towards you all, and no one has died, but multiple injured. Before the next wave comes, we need to heal everyone. The number of waves that will be coming our way will. Hey, a message that came from the Stormers, George interrupts. Henry, Daniel and Annabelle read the note and it says, I would like that your world is in great danger. Multiple tribes are being destroyed by us, and so are you. We've only just begun. You are our last one. We have 1 million troops left, and you cannot beat us. Tomorrow, meet us at Haunted Mountain area. You will be destroyed. If you want to know what the arena is, it is the biggest arena in the world. There is about 20 kilometers in wideness. It is huge. The area is about 5 kilometers away. You will be chosen to fight everyone that we have left, but only 3 of the best fighters from your friends can be chosen. Daniel, Henry, and Annabelle, you are the best. You guys should team up and be the 3 fighters. Signed, the Stormers tribe leader, Ganges. Everyone cheers as the fighters get ready for the final fight. Now we leave. The masters put their hoods on. They go home and get more tech and homemade stuff. They come out and start walking out, having their flags in their hands and also new weapons the next day. Especially Annabelle, who now had poison bombs which could be toxic to breathe and has a large range of about 1 kilometer. She also has a jet injection which can be used to give people weird pooping problems and make people explode into the air. People can fly into the air and quickly release how far up they are, and then fall down and sadly die. Well, kind of sadly, even though it looks funny. She also has smoke grenades, so Daniel can use them and then sneak up behind people while they are distracted by the smoke. Henry has upgraded arrows made of the ashes so they will light on fire as soon as the temperature goes higher. Henry uses ice to keep the arrows not lighted, and then when he takes them out they light up. Also the arrows are pointier. Daniel has extremely sharp knives. His jetpack boots are now on sliding mode, so Daniel can slide for infinite meters and kilometers. He finally has armor and also a helmet that can be lighted on fire, because lighting fire is really cool, to make his whole body bunch of armor light on fire. The heat doesn't affect him. The masters see the arena and look at the entrance. After several hours of climbing a rocky and snowy mountain, they finally reach it. They look at it. The place had glass walls. It was very fancy, but hadn't been cleaned from the inside. Lots of broken boxes and fake villages were broken. A man walks over to them saying good luck. It was George. He got here from a horse wagon. Oh, for God's sake, I forgot that we got those. Everyone laughed until Daniel said, "Okay, let's stop. We need more anger. George, say something bad about us. But you might kill me." "I promise I won't."
Okay, Daniel, those arrows aren't pointy enough, and your horrid clothes smell like you just shut yourself.
Ah, no. Well done, I'm mad.
I hope you guys survive,
as George hugs everyone for long moments.
The fight will start in 10 minutes. It's 10 till 1.
So 12:50?
Yeah.
The masters go and do their thing and line up next to each other and wait for the horn to blow. Guys, I love you all. By the way, Henry, not in a gay way. Are you saying that not in a happy way? Sorry, I mean in a different way, as Daniel tells Henry what it really is in the future. Oh, thanks, Daniel. We hope you have a good time, as Annabelle hugs and gives Daniel and Henry a kiss on the cheek. I guess this is where we die. Let's make this a good one, and that will go down in history. We cannot forget this. For Queen and country! The horn blows, and the masters come charging into battle. Henry tells the others to get behind cover. He scouts a large area of forest, but can't see anything. He tells everyone to move up more. Quick, this way. Daniel and Henry slide to cover. Annabelle, though, just runs and crouches down. Henry spots 3 enemy robot tribesmen, around 300 meters away. Henry lines up a shot with his beautiful flaming arrows. He lines up his 3 arrows into the bow, and flonk. The arrows go flying into the air, and hits them all in the chest. The robots start running like madmen, and start lighting a flame path across a small patch before exploding into oil and robotic parts. Henry gets down more with the others until no one is visible anymore. Okay, I think we're safe now. Hey, who goes there? I'm not afraid of you. Daniel, Henry and Annabelle poke their heads up, and a man tries to run away. Are you now? Yes? Henry lines up a shot and shoots his flaming arrows right in the man's back. Why did you kill him, Henry? Annabelle, he would have got away with it and told everyone our coordinates. It's happened before. The act's so sad, so we give and don't shoot. But I am not dumb. I would always let them go, and one of them got my parents killed, so I'm not taking any chances. The fighters move onwards. Annabelle sees an enemy bowman and throws a poison bomb at it. The enemy tries to get out, but the amount of poison kills. The guy lies on the ground with a white face. Henry picks the man's arrows up because there were some that were poisoned and good for making the arrow flame more. Poison mixed with fire equals an explosion, but you have to be quick. Henry quickly resets his lights because it all had turned into water. 5 down, 999,995 to go. Shh. Enemies inbound yourself, Daniel. Got it, Annabelle. There was around 1,000 bowmen racing at Daniel south. They heard the shouting and were now crouched down with no cover. They all looked around. Daniel saw that they were only 50 meters away from them. I'll go take them on. Throw smoke over next to them. They will be focused on it hard, and I'll come out of it. On it, you mean? Annabelle throws a smoke in front of the enemies, and the enemies get confused and look at the smoke. Daniel quickly turns his firearm on, so gets two fresh knives out and comes jumping over to them and sets them on fire. Daniel burns more as well as he gets covered in oil. A minute later, he burns everyone, and robots explode like fireworks, and people dance like they were drunken, and then just dunk onto the floor. Daniel stands up and he turns the slide shoes off. He looks at the enemy's bodies with disgust. He walks over towards Henry and Annabelle. We need to get moving. The shouting would have got people's attention. They find 3 horses with a note on them saying, "All yours, kids, signed George." Time to get moving, everyone. The masses ride into the setting sun until someone catches them off guard. A guard was chilling at the small village. It looked abandoned from the outside. Daniel thought it would be a good idea if he went, crouched and snuck towards the guard. He didn't use his fire armor in case any more people were in the village. Daniel goes behind the guard and kills him. For some reason, it wasn't a robot, and instead a human. Daniel thought they were dumb until he heard sounds coming from the village. Daniel quickly slides behind a tree. The others saw from a distance. Daniel points towards the village and puts a finger on his mouth. I think he's saying for us to be quiet and get down. Daniel keeps his back to the tree so no one from the abandoned village can see him. People come out of a weird and eerie building. He sees that 600 enemies are coming out with upgraded armor and also knight helmets. They all come out and look around with their spears, maces, bows, and arrows. Daniel turns his fire armor on, and Annabelle, also followed by Henry, came running out of the bushes. Daniel starts stabbing people as Annabelle threw a smoke bomb out. An enemy was trying to see what was around them in the smoke until Daniel turns the man around and waves his hand at him as he stabs the man. Blood pours out of his chest, but Daniel realizes he had been backstabbed somehow. He broke a bit of his armor, but he was fine. Henry starts shooting people in the head, making them force back and then die. And then look like they slip over. Annabelle heard a voice next to her. She quickly turned around to see a mace. She quickly crouched as the mace nearly hit her head. Henry! Oh shit, it's coming. Henry quickly puts a bow around the man and chokes him until the man kicks him over. Henry punches the man repeatedly in the face. He then jumps on the man's face and the man finally dies. Jeez, that was hard. As Henry helps Annabelle up. Next time you should use the injection. Yeah, we wouldn't waste our energy as much as usual. Meanwhile, Daniel has had the funniest time of his life. Henry and Annabelle get some of the further away soldiers, while Daniel gets them from the front. Daniel grabs a mace and spins around so fast he nearly starts to puke up due to his rapid growth. He starts to hit people and they literally fly and start bashing into trees. Haha! This is awesome! He starts to puke up and puts puke on all of the enemies. Robots start to explode all around them, so he sets his sliding shoes on and sticks to the floor so the impact doesn't affect Daniel. What the hell is Daniel doing? Maybe he's going bonkers. I think it's because he's saying the word yeet. This whole time Daniel has been here, it's just been him and humor. Bloody hell, it's not over till it's over. Meanwhile, Daniel sees the most beautiful thing in his life. A chain reaction of fire was occurring next to him. He smiles and turns his fire, setting off, but all the oil was still being burnt on him. He didn't care. The village was finished, but only for now. 603 down, only 999,397 to go. Daniel kicks open a village door and it falls over. He takes 2 knives out of his fiery jacket. The knives were on fire, but people put their hands up. Daniel tells them quickly to drop their weapons. Well, what do we have here? More people on our side? We're just saying that you were not in the other battle. Well, here, grab these knives here. The tip is on fire. Also, if you try to kill any of us, we will kill all of you. The enemies grab a knife each. There were only 20 soldiers, but they looked much buff and stronger than the others. They had knight helmets on that were also tougher. All the men had dangerous weapons now, though Daniel stayed with Annabelle and Henry in case something bad happened with one of the men. They were all real people, which was good. The men looked tired and had bagged eyes, so they had no sleep probably last night. So if they were to be a traitor, they would probably not be able to kill anyone. A kilometer later, Daniel Fire's armor had finally stopped being on fire. Daniel stopped people. Around 500,000 of them. There were so many. But yeah, as Daniel spotted people, he saw there were more than expected. Holy, there is a lot! What a bloodbath it would be. Everyone looks at Daniel with disgust. What? It would be so beautiful. The robots exploding, making people catch fire. Well, if it makes them on fire in the first place. Fuck, I just forgot the fire. Oh, don't worry. The fire goes at about 500 meters in a circle every hour until the fire closes in and kills every one of you. One of the men says. Daniel looks at him with a smile and gives him a thumbs up. Everyone gets to cover, and especially all the men on their side. Daniel, Annabelle, I just want to quickly see how many I can kill with one arrow. Henry lines up one arrow on the bow and shoots it into a robot's head. It was at the front of the army, and the robot exploded into loads of oil that went on 1,000 more men. People started running on like madmen on fire. They made people light on fire. It was like a virus, except it was just fire. 132 old men became fire all of a sudden next to them. The small 20 fighters started stabbing them. The fighters threw knives at them. As they did, they found a small pond next to them and made their hands wet. So when they took their knives out of the men, they could not have the fire virus and only make them just have a small burn due to that enemies were still on fire. All 132 men were killed and bodies were getting buried in the dirt as rain started pouring down. Meanwhile, the virus of fire was beginning to heat up. That's a good pun. Yeah. But more people every second started burning on fire, as if it was timesing by 2 every second. 5 minutes later with fire, bloodbaths and oil, everyone on the enemy side was pretty much dead. 506,003 to go, down. 494,997 to go. Everyone started to cheer. They gave themselves a large hug at each other. Bloody hell, guys, it ain't over yet. It was getting dark, and another abandoned village was nearby, due to one of the 19 guys telling everyone about it being abandoned. He said it could be full of more weapons. The boys, and the girl, of course, forgets about the horses, but still happily, probably one of the enemies took one. They all just hoped that they were safe and sound. They saw the village a bit later and saw that their horses were there. Henry knew that there were enemies in the village. Annabelle, Daniel, and Henry grabbed the horses and pat them and nearly cry for leaving them. The other men come over and say that there is another village nearby about south of them. It had been 24 hours and half of the whole arena had already been burnt to pieces. It would have been too late. They needed a place that was close to the middle of the arena. There was a flag in the middle of the middle that said middle of arena. This could have been a setup all along. Daniel was the only thing on Daniel's mind all along, anyways. A spaz kind of shiver went down everyone's spine. They needed to kill everyone fast. Henry sends an arrow to every house in the enemy village, and everyone in it starts to run out on fire. There was about 2,000, but all dead, so it could have been more. The village was gone, so the only best choice that everyone had to stay at for the night was somewhere in the forest. One of the people that the master had recruited were on night watch. Each hour, they would switch between each person. It was around 9 p.m. and everyone went to sleep. It had been a good day, but it was finally rewarded with this. In the morning, at around 6:30 a.m., everyone was awake. Not a single person was dead as well. It was incredible. Annabelle woke up last with a giant yawn. She saw one of the men who was still tired, and Annabelle gave him a weird-looking kind of medicine, of which she couldn't mention. It looked weird, but at last it made the man more active. "Hey, Annabelle, could I have one, please?" Daniel said with his eyes wide open. "When we get in a fight." Daniel felt a bit sad, but extremely happy. Everyone suddenly came to a stop because of Henry. "Everyone, it's the last people. The last 492,997. Henry shoots an arrow at the front line and ducks down as everyone else does too. The back of the line quickly runs away, but Henry shoots an arrow and the fire virus begins to spread again. People of all directions run away. The virus gets faster, but the enemies suddenly realize that the firing is all around them and start running towards the masters and recruits. They start to run and ride away from all the enemies, because the fire could spread to them. The 400,000 and only 3.2 kilometers equals a tight space. Harry signals to them that they go over at the edge of the ring of the fire about 50 meters in front of it, and then stay with it. Meanwhile, the fire virus spreads and only 200,000 men are left on the enemy team. The ring closes on another kilometer, and the masses put their recruits start to run away. As people on the enemy side come closer, Henry quickly bows them down, but just more people keep on coming. The fire keeps getting closer, and 4 hours after the big start of the virus of fire, 10,000 enemies only remain. Only 2 kilometers left of land remaining. Henry keeps the enemies busy. Annabelle makes a sneaky move and goes to the middle and throws a poison bomb down. The bomb gets larger and larger, and Annabelle was making the horse run as fast as it could until the 1 kilometer range of poison stops and starts to choke enemies. They breathe in the smoke of poison and start to turn white and die with the eyes up on their head and make them dab. 8,000 of the enemies that Annabelle had killed lied on the floor, dabbing, which made her cringe Annabelle's head off. It was a beautiful sight, though that they were dead. An enemy comes towards Annabelle, running and screaming. It was a charger, and she got off her horse and went charging towards the enemy with great speed. She went into contact with the enemy. The enemy swiped his mace at her. She kicked him over. She held one of her hands on the man's mace arm, and Annabelle quickly stabs him with the injection with one of her hands on the man's mace arm. The man dies instantly. His other hand was holding her chest. She got the hand off in huge disgust. Maybe he didn't have someone to love. She regroups with the boys, and the boys hug her. The recruits are looking at the masters hugging. We killed around another 1,000. How many did you kill, Annabelle? I think 8,001. There was a burnt enemy next to him. He looked like he was alive until... Congrats on winning, losers. I was the last. But you will never escape the arena. Anyways, can you please kill me? It hurts a lot. Sure. Daniel stabs the man and looks at him with an angry smile. Annabelle gets her spreadable medicine water. She uses it and creates a path through the fire. Then after 3 hours of the most interesting, boringest walk ever, everyone sees the entrance. The masters look at each other and themselves. Daniel was hurt a bit due to the metal bashing into his chest. He didn't bleed, but he was covered completely in lots of metal and blood. Mostly blood. It was pretty much the same for everyone else as well. Daniel, Annabelle, and Henry look at each other. They suddenly see a hole next to them, and that makes them go back into the real world. 3 different portals are made back at Cornwall in different locations. Daniel falls onto a chimney and quickly turns the slide boots on. He looks at the house when he jumps down and sees how lovely it looked, the plans inside. It was a lovely sight. He knocked on the door and waited. The door opened with a creak, and in front he saw his parents. They started crying with large tears pouring out of them. Where were you, Daniel? This might sound a little weird, as Daniel tells him the whole story. Oh my god, baby, are you okay? How badly are you hurt? I'm fine. As Daniel pulls his dirty shirt and armor off, reveals his topless chest. There were small metal bits stuck to his body, the blood dripping down all of it. There were mace marks all over Daniel. He had deep holes in him, and many more marks on him. He did a weird-looking guilty face at his parents, and then they took him over to the hospital as fast as they could. Meanwhile, at Henry's place, he quickly went in and saw his gang partners. His members looked at him with their mouths dropping. Henry, where the fuck have you been? This might sound weird, as Henry tells them the story. After the story, the boys don't believe him. Henry takes his top off to see his bad-looking battle scars. There were holes that had cut near the bone. The flesh had been completely annihilated. There were small bits of robotic parts in them. A large news report came from the TV as Henry showed them the scars. It showed the 3 portals coming through. It zoomed into every portal and saw Henry, Daniel, and Annabelle falling out. Henry was on TV, and the members looked at him and nodded their heads at him. You had a rough time falling, didn't you? Henry takes a cigarette and lights it. He puts it in his mouth repeatedly. Over at Annabelle's, she kicks the house door open. She sees her gang, and they all start screaming, "Oh my god! Where were you?" I don't know. Annabelle quickly tells them the story. My goodness, sister! You need to let us see your battle scars! Annabelle lifts her shirt and armor up and reveals lots of tiny scratches and scars. They were okay. She then saw a large scar across the tummy. She sees her flesh all open and cut. The cut was around a hole 30 centimeters long. She needed to go to the doctors for sure. Bloody hell, that is disgusting. But is the scar of a true hero? Haha, girls. I guess they are really bad. All you need now is a super guy now. He probably would think you as a hero. You could get someone handsome and hot, Annabelle. Hey, stop it, as she laughs the words. Back with Daniel, the doctors and nurses were all on him. How did he get those? Well, it's a long story. Daniel tells the doctors and nurses everything. They nod at each other. They quickly find a bed for Daniel to sleep for the night. The doctors get him food from the kitchen while the nurses check him. All hands were on deck, even though there were hardly any people there around 9 p.m. It was weird for Daniel because he could hardly feel any pain. Nurses asked how painful it was for Daniel. He replies, "It only hurts as if someone just stabbed me with a small kitchen knife." Nurses have a small spaz attack and go back a little bit. Annabelle arrives in the hospital on her own because her partners would be killed else by nurses calling the police. She looked different in the present world. Daniel didn't know it was her, so people got to work as he saw her tummy scar. It was also becoming infected. Henry came in the door as well, and with his group, he looked pretty much older in the presence, so no one really knew him. He needed help very badly. He started puking up all over himself. Every doctor and even the admin were active. It was complete craziness. They all told the same story. "Oh, is that you, Annabelle?" "Yes, how do you know, big guy?" "Oh, just saying." "Wait. You look a tiny bit like the man named Henry." "That's me." "Geez, you're hotter than you were back in 1300. "Really? Thanks. You're hot AF too." "Actually," as Annabelle winks at Henry and he winks back. "Henry, Annabelle, is that you?" as Daniel starts from his bed. "You betcha." Everyone gets to bed and starts talking to each other. They talk about their lives and how they live like through walkie-talkies. They talk about how bad their scars actually are. After an hour of treatment, it starts to snow, and everyone starts to hear loud bangs on the roof. They hear screams, about 50. They start running in with swords, and Daniel, Annabelle, and also Henry get out of bed. They were all ready with no weapons until Daniel checks his pockets and finds 3 knives. He gives one each to Henry and Annabelle. He looks at them for a second with a confuzzled smile. 50 enemies start charging in, and Daniel quickly starts stabbing enemies and then grabs the sword. All the doctors and nurses quickly got back to the back of the bedrooms. The enemies were down extremely quickly and everyone cheers. The next day, every one of the masters gets outside the hospital and walk back home with style with stitches all over them. The doctors and nurses made it free because the hero saved their lives and would have died else. They get out and see snow, but a large hole in the air pops out and it enlarges until thousands of people come out of it with swords. "The Stormers are bloody back!"